Hey everybody, it's Morgan McGee, Greatest is Reward. I want to talk a little bit about dealing with evil in the social square. Now, typically on this channel, we talk about the evil of the inside or the spiritual evil, spiritual war which we conduct. But there will be occasions that we need to talk to strangers and people not of the world and try to come into some kind of agreement or change a mind or two. And so I want to talk about evil in society as of 2020 in America. So, a friend of mine, James, was speaking with somebody concerning the fallout of a certain policy that led 1,000 black people to die. And of course, he received no response from those he was speaking to um, that were on the other side. Now, he made the point that if that doesn't bother you, that you might be a supremacist, you might be a racial supremacist. The dark truth about that statement is that it might be wrong. There might be policies and attitudes that lead one to the harming of a certain segment of population that don't come from a hatred or a supremacy or a seeking to improve one's own racial identificational group or community of as large, but maybe something actually a more sinister motive than hate or disgust with another group of people. So I was speaking with somebody else concerning the lack of justice or retribution for the families that lost people during a terrorist attack that happened on 9/11. That wasn't 9/11, and it was received by someone else as with the, if I may summarize their idea, big deal. Big deal that those people lost someone they loved. It wasn't that the man I was speaking to hated the families or the children that lost their husband, father, sons. It was that it didn't matter to them. We're used to in the media, and you were used to from since I was very young that all portrayals of cruelty were coming from hatred. Oh, I hate you because you don't look like me, or I hate you because you're not like me, or I hate you because of XYZ, and therefore I'm gonna do this thing against you. I'm going to create this plot against you. But some of these most horrendous things in the world are in the absence of hate. They have no hate attached to them. They're just simply a almost clerical, clinical, structural issue that someone is resolving through the life and death of somebody else. That they become means to an end. So Adolf Hitler hated the Jews. He wasn't indifferent towards the Jews. He hated them. He hated their families. He found them to be disgusting, but he wasn't indifferent to them. And today, we're all looking out for the next Adolf Hitler and Nazis to rise. But the indifference of Stalin towards his people and their plight, or Mao towards the peasants, or Pol Pot killing over a third of his people, that has accumulated to more deaths in the 20th century than Adolf Hitler. Yet we only speak of Adolf Hitler in that hatred, that supremacy of the he has towards the German people. Fascism. So there's no examination or horror into the eugenic movements of the early 1900s. There's no rage or victimization concerning the castration of blacks going to Muslim countries to be as slaves, even today, or of the castration and this chemical castration within this country in the 1920s to 40s, done in the name of science and the eugenist movement, a very clinical, sterile kind of motivation that doesn't see people as disgusting wretches, but as particles upon a map, as numbers and as statistics on a ledger. And what's horrifying in and of itself is the people that will lead this to these policies don't think of themselves as evil people. So say the welfare state dissolves tomorrow, or the poverty industry falls apart tomorrow, the participants of the welfare state within the black community has led to a lack of self-sufficiency that was not there before the Great Society of Lyndon B. Johnson, would lead to mass starvation, and the quote, good people with a sterile motivation, lack of hatred within their heart, would respond, big deal. Big deal to those families. They're just numbers on a ledger, statistics, big deal. So, where did this come from? I suppose it has to come from college. When I was in college, the professors and everyone basically said in class that we are the smartest people and that everyone that didn't go to college is fools. And we are here to educate you so that you may educate everyone else and bring them into right alignment of their beliefs. We are the intellectual class. We are the prophet class. We are the philosopher class of Plato's Republic. I have a message from God in my heart concerning the sinfulness of the wicked. There is no fear of God before their eyes. In their own eyes, they flatter themselves too much to detect or hate their own sin. So I know what you're thinking, that you're going to convince them of something or at least shame them by showing them the evils of their way, but you are not going to shame them into anything because they have no shame. You have the shame. You have the conscience. You fear God. If you wish to insult them, so be it. If you wish to wail on them, go ahead. But don't imagine that you are shaming them with their behavior. Hey everybody, this is Morgan McGee. Thank you very much for tuning in. And if you want to share, like, that would be fantastic. If you want to feed the kitty underneath so my cat doesn't go starving. If you want to read a fantastic book on Christianity and the necessity for the hope in this world. Prosperity versus Austerity Doctrine by yours truly, Morgan McGee. Thank you and God bless.